I'm going to be showing you how I make electrolyte samples. So the first thing that I did was I set everything up that I needed. I have the pedge drying up right now because it takes quite a while. I have the PC ready to go. I have the pipette that I'm going to use for the PC ready to go. I have the lithium TFSI salt all weighed out and ready. So first thing I do is I have the stir bar to the beaker, and then I like to get the PC. So I'm going to draw the 0.9 mils that I need for the sample batch size that I'm making. So just slowly draw it up. And then looks good to me. I'm going to bring it over here. Throw it all in there. I'm going to hang up my pipette so that I have my hands free again. Then I'm going to add the 2.04 grams of lithium TFSI salt. And need two hands for this, so I'm moving my phone a little bit, apologies. I'm going to add this to the PC. And for future reference, this is a 10th batch size, so for whoever might be watching this, that's what I'm using. Got all the salt in there. And then going to start stirring a little bit, slowly, just so stuff can get started to dissolve. And the reason I did not add the polymer first is because it is very annoying to draw up. So I always like to let it draw up before I start all this stuff. So now that it is probably all drawn up, I'm going to check, and if any bubbles form, I'm going to pause the video and restart drawing it up. Doesn't look like any bubbles formed when I pulled it up, so I'm going to add it to the speaker. And now here's the boring part of the entire process. I'm going to pause the video for it, make a cut, is letting all this salt dissolve. It takes quite a long amount of time. And also just even throwing the polymer out of the pipette, it also just takes a long time because it's so thick and viscous. So once I'm done with this, I'll rehang this guy back up, turn the stirring on, make sure it's going. It starts off very slow, but eventually as the salt dissolves, the stir bar will start going a lot faster. But I will be back whenever this starts to dissolve. Also, you can see the stir bar is going a lot faster now that it's starting to dissolve. This process can take anywhere from like 30 minutes to like half an hour to like an hour to 2 hours. It's very inconsistent, but this one looks like it's going to go pretty fast. So I'll be back whenever that happens. Alright, so it's been about 45 minutes, and if you look, the electrolyte is now all nice and clear, and no little salt particles left in it. So I'm going to put it in a nice bath for about 5 minutes, and then I'll come back here and show you how I cure it, which is where the biggest decrease in bubbles happens. Essentially, I'm just changing the process slightly to stop from when you pick up the stir bar, or when you're stirring, you put bubbles in it and it cures and it gets trapped. But a little snippet of what's going to happen in a little bit. Alright, so I've left the electrolyte in a little bit of ice water in a nice bath. So now I'm going to add the curing agent and cure it. I have these little tins. I've labeled them with Packham and a number, just so I have the sample number. And then I'm going to show you how I run the curing process. Grab the pipette, draw it up, I got a bubble, so I'm going to redraw. I did not get a bubble this time, so. And now there's going to be a sharp increase in viscosity now that I have the curing agent. But if you stir it with like a stir rod or the spatula, you're going to end up getting a bunch of bubbles. So this stir bar is definitely, I feel, a better process to cure it. So I'm going to let that sit in there, just so it's good mix, for about like 5 more seconds-ish. And then this part's also important. When you take the stir bar out, you want to do it in such a way that you get as little bubbles forming in the electrolyte as possible, because this is where that comes from. That's what makes your samples bad. If you ended up getting bubbles, you'd be able to see it right now. I don't have any bubbles, and you can also tell that it's starting to cure, and solidify. So I'm going to do a nice pour and try to do it nice and slow, just so that I make sure that no bubbles start to form. And then also just add about the same amount to each tin. Generally a good rule of thumb. This one ended up fairly good, because if you look, I don't know how well my camera's putting up the tins, but there's no bubbles underneath the electrolyte, and that'll get you a really nice, clear electrolyte. So, that's it for this video.